Hi everyone, today we're looking at G.I. Joe Classified Series 6-inch Prophet Director Destro, which is the HS4 Plus name and has the same initials PDD or Pimp Daddy Destro. Looking at the front of the box, the color scheme is kind of Miami Vice and the bling factor is enhanced by the shiny gold G.I. Joe logo and lettering. There's a suitably cartoonish anime artwork to make Pimp Daddy appeal to kids 4 and up. On the top of the box, there's also the gold lettering and he's numbered number 15. On the bottom of the box, you see the Hasbro credits. And moving to the side, you see more snazzy artwork with him sporting his pimp shades. On the back, the regular G.I. Joe Classified Series box art. And on the right side of the box, you see he's got a couple of badges over here. This one looks like it's for engineering, some marksmanship, and probably these are for him obtaining certain resources. So let's get him open. Out of the box, the action figure is placed nicely on the tray together with his accessories, and then there's a piece of tape holding the pistol in place. The general color scheme of the artwork is also carried into the backdrop of the box, with a very bling Cobra logo that has green glowing eyes. Prophet Director Destro comes with 5 accessories: a golden briefcase, a burning stack of dollar bills, a flashy pair of shades, a golden pistol, as well as a pimpin' cape. The briefcase looks to be sculpted in a gold plastic, and then given a coat of gold paint all over it for a really nice finish. And then there's also a hit of metallic paint for the handle. There's a very sharply sculpted and molded Cobra logo. Taking a closer look at the logo, you can see the details are really sharply translated onto the briefcase. There's nice details on the side as well to show the briefcase design, and giving the briefcase a little bit of a 360. You see the same details on the other side as well. Moving on to the bottom, they've actually sculpted details for hinges as well. Onto the top, there are 2 nicely sculpted buckles, and the buckles function just like a regular briefcase. Taking a closer look inside the briefcase, there's sculpted and painted stacks of cash at the top, and on the bottom you see a Cobra computer, sharply detailed keyboard, and very well applied paint for the computer screen, as well as no smudges on the Cobra logo. So that's really impressive. And Destro holds the briefcase well in his hands. Next up we have the golden pistol. It looks completely painted in gold, with some nice features sculpted on the barrel as well as the trigger. Flipping it over to the other side, more of the same details. He holds the pistol well in his hands, and you can even fit his trigger finger into the trigger. And you can fit the pistol snugly into the holster on his right leg. Next up is the burning stack of cash, with really sharp details sculpted into it, just to bring out the iconic look of the US $100 bill. You can even see the $100 denomination over here, and then some very nice tears in the paper as well. The flames look a little odd, even though they're obviously sculpted in the shape of flames, but the paint applications are too thick, and the flames end up looking a little bit like melted cheese. It would have been better if Hasbro decided to use some translucent orange plastic for the flames instead. Flipping it over to the other side, again more of the very sharp impressive details on the dollar bills. And one interesting thing to point out is that the shade of the green used on the dollar bills do not actually match the shade of green in the briefcase. And of course he holds the burning stack of cash nicely in his hands. Next up is a really swag looking pair of shades, with paint applications blending the purple and the bronze on the lenses, as well as silver on the sides. And the shades go on pretty well on his head, supported by the ears and his nose. Looking pretty swag with a pair of shades and burning stack of cash. And lastly we have the pimpin' cape. The cape is sculpted in a bright red plastic and then has all the other details painted on. The most impressive thing is the photorealistic printing, and there's a very convincing look of leopard fur on it. It's got other details like the frills on the side of the leopard skin, as well as the leopard paws and the tail, which are of course painted in a different shade, and the leopard spots are also carried over onto the paws. I actually observed Hasbro using some bright red paint over here, just to touch up some of that leopard paint bleeding out onto the red cape. I don't think the frills are super sharply painted on, and the red touch-up isn't exactly perfect, but I'll say overall the whole leopard skin look and feel is achieved, and I'm not too bothered by the rough lines over here at the bottom of the cape. Moving up along the sides of the cape, we also see more of the frills painted in a different shade. Onto the front of the cape, there's a nice gold chain over here to match the gold on Destro. Again, more sculpted detail for the frills, as well as the leopard paws on the front. However, on closer inspection of the paws and the frills, it appears that the paint is applied a little bit too thick, and that actually causes the details to look kind of soft, and we also see some bubbling on the paint on the paw. So Hasbro could have used thinner paint on this portion. The cape is made of a fairly inflexible plastic, but that doesn't bother me too much because this is more of a showpiece item and I'm not really going to pose him in many action poses with the cape. The plastic cape sits nicely on Destro. It's quite a snug fit around his shoulders as well as his chest, with the back of the cape sitting nicely around his collar. So the cape falls nicely on his shoulders as well as down his back, looking pretty pimpy with the cape on, suitably swag for a Prophet Director or a Pimp Daddy, coupled with the shades as well as the burning cash. Taking a closer look at the sculpt and paint of this figure, Hasbro has absolutely nailed the head sculpt for Destro. The head is casted in the gold plastic and then painted over with some gold. They've given him furrowed brows, deep set eyes painted black with the digital printed white pupils, chiseled cheekbones and a strong chin for a villainous note or a mean Pimp Daddy. I actually noticed a little ugly mole line on the left side of his jaw, but at least it doesn't show up when you're looking at him head on. Moving Moving down to the neck, nicely sculpted rivets, and he's accessorized with a gold chain, silver pendant with a red ruby. He also has a large flashy collar printed with the same photorealistic leopard print that we saw on his cape. Once again, the print is done very well, sharply printed and doesn't bleed out of the collar, and also has a clear distinction between the flesh tone on his chest as well as the leopard prints. So the upper part of this action figure is amazingly well done. Moving on to his torso, there is a central zip detail that is well painted as well. Even though the rest of his torso isn't painted, Hasbro has done a good job sculpting in the various panels. Like over here you see a more glossy finish, while closer to the middle there is a sort of texture, and then down his sides you see a more matte finish. So even though it's unpainted, there are enough details to make it visually appealing. Moving on to his arms, you see more paneling on the unpainted part of his upper arm, bright red paint on his gauntlet with a flashy golden arm-mounted rockets. These rockets are sculpted and painted as a separate piece, so there is no paint bleeding. Once again, very neat work by Hasbro. On his hands, we see that he has sculpted gloves with a nice mechanical detail down the sides. Moving on to the back of the figure, he has a painted elbow pad, as well as more of the well-executed unpainted panels on his back. Moving on to his belt, it's sculpted in a bright red plastic with metallic paint for the belt, and it's attached to the holster and the pouches on his thigh. Again, the pouches are not painted, but have enough detail in the sculpt to make them look visually interesting, with a couple of straps down the sides as well as the back. Now the leopard print on the lower part of his body is where it throws me off a little bit, simply because Hasbro did not apply the same level of care and detail as the photorealistic leopard print on the collar. So the leopard prints on his pelvis and the side of his thighs actually end up looking a little flat, without them actually looking like they are made out of leopard fur. Looking closer at the leopard prints on the side of his thigh and down his back, you can see that the effect is a little disappointing compared to his collar. Onto his knee pads, they're given a nice metallic paint, as well as an even darker shade of red down the side and the back of his knees. His boots are cast in black with nicely sculpted mechanical detail down the front, some indication of laces inside as well as straps. Moving down the side and back of his boots, you can also see the detail of the straps and buckles continuing all the way down the back. So that makes the plain black boots very visually interesting as well. And then he's given a hit of gold paint for bling on the toe caps. For articulation, he has a ball hinge at the top of his neck as well as a second ball joint at the bottom of his neck. So his neck has a good range downwards as well as upwards, slightly hindered by the collar, good wiggle room sideways as well. Butterfly joints at the shoulders to pull them backwards as well as forward. Swivel hinge at the shoulder to get you all-round movement as well as outward that much. A bicep swivel, double jointed elbows for just past 90 degrees. Swivel at the wrist as well as a hinge for up and down. He's got an ab crunch that gives you 2 clicks forward, combined with the ball jointed waist gets you a pretty deep forward crunch, as well as 2 clicks backwards for a pretty extreme backward bend. Ball hinge at the waist gives you 360 swivel. Drop down hips that go down pretty far. Ball jointed hips that go forward and backward that much. The back's probably hindered by his butt, as well as a good sideways split, again hindered by the holster. Upper thigh swivel. Double jointed knees giving you a good range all the way up, kicking his butt. Calf swivel at the boot. Good range ankle downwards as well as upwards. And a very generous ankle tilt outwards as well as inwards. So his overall articulation scheme is great to get him into a variety of action poses. Of course, his shoulder articulation will be hindered by the cape when it's on. And right here, I just imagine him taking down rival pimps on his turf while burning cash to show his wealth of resources. Size-wise, he stands at 16.5 centimeters or 6.5 inches. Some size comparisons with Scarlet, Duke, and Gung-Ho, which is the same mold as Roadblock, Arctic Mission, Storm Shadow, and the Red Ninja, some articulated icons ninjas, and some typical Marvel legends. The shade of gold on Destro looks really similar to the one used on the classic Iron Man. In summary, I think Profit Director Destro is a great exclusive. Some of my nitpicks are that Hasbro should have used the same leopard print treatment on his pants as the very well executed photorealistic print on his cape and collar, and that this Destro outfit does not actually appear in any cartoon or comic. But precisely because of that, I think this is a good exclusive option for your collection. It's not a core design, but gives collectors some snazzy and interesting accessories like the shades, burning cash, and flashy cape. The design is over the top, paint adds a big element of bling, and the overall figure is super eye-catching. To top it off, the figure has the effective articulation scheme that I have come to enjoy so much in this line. Please like and share this video, let me know what you think of the Destro outfit in the comments below, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, take care and stay safe.